Good day, good morning, or whatever time of day that you're listening to this. Hope that you are doing well, that you've been staying safe and staying healthy. Today, I wanted to focus on succeeding through our failure. Sometimes we have to be okay with losing. Sometimes we lose to get prepared to win. Sometimes we experience a lot of losses, but again, it prepares us to win. Now, I'm going to start off with some basketball metaphors. So, if you don't like basketball, I am sorry, but I do. My favorite team is the Detroit Pistons. During the 80s, the Pistons could not beat the Celtics in the playoffs. The team wanted to win championships, but the Celtics were always right there to beat them. And they hated each other. They would get in fights, like literally fist fights during the game. One year, it looked like the Pistons were about to win, and then they lost. It's one of the most iconic plays ever, where Larry Bird steals the ball under the basket, and it just literally crushed the team. But then they finally beat them the next year. But then, after they beat the Lakers, they had to go play, or excuse me, after they beat the Celtics, they had to go play the Lakers, and then they lost to them. So they decided they had to get better. So there were two key things that they did. First, the best player on the team decided he had to get stronger, and he did. This player actually went to work out with a football team to get stronger. Then they traded off a player on their team that didn't really fit their mission. This player, when he would get the ball, he wouldn't pass the ball. He would shoot the ball, and didn't play team basketball at all. And the coach would ask him to come out because it was time to come out, and he would tell the coach, "I'm not coming out. I'm still playing." So they traded a player off the team that didn't really fit their mission. Now, this player was really good. People would have debates if he was the best player on the team or not. But he didn't get along with the other players. How many of us in our lives need to remove some people from our teams? A great way to realize you have some bad teammates is to lose. People act differently when they lose. What's a common phrase that people say when they lose? What is the saying? It's only a game. You notice that no one says that after they won. No one when a team wins a championship and they're throwing champagne around, no one comes in there and says, "Guys, it's just a game. Don't celebrate." Only losers say that. Now, this player that they traded away would always say, "You guys need to run more plays for me." And when they were lost, he would really say, "We lost because you guys didn't give me the ball more." Losses show us who we are. But the Pistons improved their team and then they won two championships. Now, while these Pistons were on their path to fulfilling their championship goals, they were now the team that someone else couldn't beat. And for the other team, it was the Chicago Bulls. Now, earlier this year, there was this great documentary on ESPN, and it's on Netflix now, about the Chicago Bulls. The Pistons beat the Bulls in the playoffs 3 years in a row. The Pistons had a very easy game plan: make things as tough as possible for Michael Jordan, and don't let anybody else beat us. And the last year they lost to Michael, the last year that Michael Jordan lost to the Pistons, Michael Jordan decided that he couldn't do this on his own. So he told the second best player on the team, "You have to get better." Michael Jordan told Scottie Pippen, "You have to be better for us to win." So the Chicago Bulls improved internally. Sometimes we have to remove people from our circle, but sometimes we need to improve people in our circle. So we have to either remove or improve. Now that's the title for another sermon. Whichever way it goes, you have to be comfortable losing sometimes. And this is coming from a person, I hate losing, no matter what it is. Basketball is my favorite sport to play. But if I lose in kickball, or if I lose in softball, or I lose anything, if I lose in a video game, I'm not happy. It can mess up my day. A popular saying is, "You might win the battle, but you won't win the war." And we're going to lose some battles, but the war has already been decided thousands of years ago. It's documented well in the Bible. I remember watching a football game. Now, this is another sports metaphor, but it's an easy one. I remember watching a football game and a player scored a touchdown. A touchdown would represent a battle and the game would represent the war. So remember the saying, you might win the battle, but you won't win the war. So a touchdown would be a battle, but the game is the war. The player that scored the touchdown started excessively dancing after they scored. But when you look up at the scoreboard, the score was 7-45. The guy that was dancing on the team, his team just scored 7. So he was losing by a lot. But that's how the enemy does. He celebrates for winning battles. But instead of us looking up at the scoreboard, we get sad because the other team scored. One of the best football players ever was Deion Sanders. He used to always tell the other team one simple word. He would simply say, scoreboard. Now, he defended other players from catching the ball. Whenever a player would catch a pass on him, it was a big deal. So these receivers would talk trash to him and brag about catching a pass. Again, not a touchdown, but a pass. And he would just respond, scoreboard. That's what we need to tell the enemy sometimes. Scoreboard. He's not in the lead. First Peter chapter 1 verse 24 says that everything eventually withers and falls, but the love of the Lord endures forever. You might lose, but God continues. Let's look at success through failure that is not a basketball metaphor, okay? In 1990, there was a farmer seeking shelter from a storm. He was deep in the jungle and he stumbled upon a cave. He stayed there until the storm passed. He went back to his farmland. He told people about it, yet he was unable to find it again. This cave was not rediscovered until 2008, so 18 years later. The cave is over 3 miles long and has heights of 650 feet. It's so big that it has its own jungle, an underground river, and localized weather system. It has its own ecosystem separate from its region, as well as its own clouds. If he didn't have to seek shelter, he never would have found this undiscovered treasure. Sometimes it takes a storm to find a treasure. That's what I want to impart on you. Sometimes it takes a storm to find a treasure. We are so upset about a previous storm or a previous failure that you are so upset about a previous heartbreak that you are missing that God has a better person for you. Some people have a testimony in that area. We cannot be afraid to fail. You think about the things that we got so down about, but then you can look at all the blessings that you currently have and just be in awe that you were even upset about something that happened before, because those failures led you to your successes. We cannot be afraid to fail. So many times we think that failure is the opposite of success, but that is false. Failure is part of success. It feels so much better when you get to the mountaintop when you have been stuck in the valley for so long. But I have some advice for you today. Enjoy those valleys. I know it's easier said than done. I'm talking to myself right now. I need to get better at enjoying the valley. But the valley is where you grow. There is no growth on the mountaintop. And you look at an actual mountaintop, there's no vegetation on the actual top of the mountain because the ground isn't fertile. The ground is hard and the temperatures aren't great for it. But you know where there is fertile ground? In the valley. The valley is where we remember God because that's where we need him. I have a number of atheist friends that don't believe in God. They make negative statuses on Facebook about God and Christians and how we're stupid and it's the white man's religion and all these other different things. And this ancient Egyptian text shows that this happened before the Bible. All these different things, all these negative things about Christianity. But when they get in a valley, they ask me to pray for them. And I want to say, well, you want me to pray to the white man's God? But I don't do that because that's not Christian. Like I do offer a prayer up for them. But do you know where we as Christians forget about God? We don't forget about God in the valley. We forget about God on the mountaintop. Because that's when we start talking about all the things that we did. But he's the one that helped us get up there. Just like, there's rich people that will, scale mountains and things like that. And I'm blanking on the famous mountain that everyone goes to to mount. and they hire these shamans and these locals to help them up there. But all these rich people, they'll take these selfies and pictures about them being on the mountain, but they only put themselves in the picture. They don't put the shaman in the picture with them. They don't put the local that helped them and pack their bags and carry their bags and help them set camp. They don't put them in the photo with them. They don't mention those people. They just mention how they got up there. That's what we do to God all the time. We act like we got to the mountain all by ourselves. But we have to appreciate that valley, because the ups and downs of our lives show us God at work. Jeremiah 8 verse 4 says, "This is what the Lord says, when men fall down, do they not get up?" You need to remember to get up and also to go the right way. We need to realize that sometimes your life looks like a car wreck. I remember a while ago, I told people that I was preaching on Facebook, and I told them the topic. And the people said, they responded and said that topic was in poor taste. And and I honestly don't even remember what the topic was, but I remember my response more than I remember the topic, and I said, I don't make these up. I don't get these things. Currently today, I have no idea what I'm going to preach on next week and what the topic is going to be. It might be remove and improve, since I just saw that. And I'm like, hey, that could be a good sermon, and I have some, and God has been giving me some things. Maybe that'll be it. I have no idea. I don't come up with this stuff. But in our lives, look like a car wreck sometimes, but we have to realize that God has lifted us from the wreckage. 2 Corinthians 4 verse 8 and 9. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. Now, some of us are hurt, and we've all been hurt at some time, but we weren't destroyed. We need to tell the devil, like Deion Sanders used to say, check the scoreboard. Moving on. Does anybody know what vomit is? Throw up. Does anybody know what that is? Vomit represents failure. It's what God said that he will do to the lukewarm. But when we vomit, it never represents something good happening in our body. But it does represent the body trying to get over a failure. The failure of eating too much? Failure vomit. Had too much to drink? Failure vomit. Ate something that you just didn't agree with? Failure vomit. But Proverbs 26 verse 11 says, as a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Don't go back to your failure. Don't go back to your vomit. But we do. We go back to it every time. Sometimes vomit disguises itself as a man, or disguises itself as a woman, or disguises itself as attention. And we go back to it over and over and over. We have to stop being addicted to our failures, addicted to our vomit. Just, you know when you see someone throw up, it makes you want to throw up. When you smell throw up, it makes you want to throw up. But we're so messed up in our heads that we willingly go to vomit. I used to tell people, I said, save that ex-boyfriend or girlfriend that always keeps trying to pop back in your life. Save their number in your phone as vomit, so when they call, you can be reminded of that. We need to go through our failures to get to the success. We have to travel through the valley. We shouldn't try to live in the valley. We have to stop trying to buy a house in the valley. It's not a good real estate option to do. Each loss that we experience are supposed to bring us closer to the gains in our lives. There was one loss that was a gain for all of us. Jesus went through a loss on the cross, and we all gained. Through his temporary defeat, he made us successful. Embrace your failures, move forward to success. Embrace your valley and move forward to your mountaintop. Hope you guys have a great week, and again, staying safe and staying healthy. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.